as Margot Robbie hits the headlines at her best mate's wedding. We're asking, is it ever OK to upstage a bride on her big day, even if you didn't intend to? Also, replacing lost credit cards, renewing driving licences and even getting a new bus pass. Find out why Janet is in the middle of a giant life admin nightmare. She's not happy, not happy. And...
Poor people don't know that you and I have swapped clothes from time to time.
Well, I've got your wedding dress.
Yeah, he's got one of my wedding dresses, a pink fur one, and I wore one of Lily's outfits.
That's right.
To George Michael's birthday. That's a Lily.
Well, just over a year since the legendary Paul O'Grady passed away, today in his first TV interview, Paul's widower, Andre Portasio, shares his memories of his husband away from the spotlight and their poignant final trip away together. So, yes, I know, it's sad, but also we are celebrating Paul as well, and I'm sure that's what Andre wants to keep doing. Starting today, talking about the TV drama series that everybody seems to be talking about, the story of Baby Reindeer. Have you seen some of you? Yes. We're not going to say too much because I know some people have started it, some people have finished it, some people are in the middle. But it isn't quite as warm and fuzzy as the title might suggest, because it follows the true story of comedian Richard Gadd, who was stalked by a woman after a seemingly innocent chat in a pub. And in the months that followed, Richard received over 40,000 emails, hundreds of hours of voicemails from his stalker. I mean, it really is an unbelievable true life story.
I sat there for hours taking it all in, piecing together her whole timeline. Her graduate job, how she got fired for inappropriate behaviour with the boss, how she started hanging around outside his house, then falsely reporting him to the police for abusing his disabled child. This other time she attacked his mother in the street, a 4.5-year prison sentence. I had a convicted stalker stalking me. I had a convicted stalker stalking me. I had a convicted stalker stalking me.
Well, I mean, so many people are talking about this. We've talked about it, haven't we? I told Janet about it, said you must watch it, but you haven't finished it yet.
Yes.
You finished it.
Yeah, you told me about it, and I went home and watched all of it in one go.
Did you binge?
I obviously have no life, unlike Janet. Yeah, I binged it because after each one finished, I thought I need to keep watching it. And it was actually so amazing because it left me with so many different emotions. I went from feeling anxious. I was anxious all the way through it, really. But then I went from feeling sorry for him, actually sorry for her at one point, because I thought he was, I don't want to ruin it, but I thought he was almost encouraging her at times. Then I went through a thing of, oh, they both actually are in a very bad place in their lives and they both need help. And then sometimes I didn't like him. And at the end, it was one of those things where for literally the rest of the day I was thinking, I have so many emotions about this show.
Yeah, Brenda, I was thinking it's one of those dramas that it made me think a lot. You know, sometimes you just watch something, you turn the TV off and you're done. But that was kind of not playing on my mind, but it did make me think a lot about real-life stalking situations, things you read in the paper sometimes, and you don't really take all that much notice if it's not happening to you. You just read something, oh, this woman was stalked for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then you see it actually play out in a true story, in a drama. It hits home.
I mean, I was quite... I like Coleen, I binge-watched it when it first came up, and, you know, I was very surprised at the way that he'd researched. And so, as Coleen says, you know, it seemed like he was encouraging her because he'd researched her, seen the red flags, but wanted more of the attention. So it was just... I felt sorry for him at first, but then when I saw him encouraging more, I'm like, no,
With another
you
people,
brought that
that's
on
the thing,
yourself.
Janet, because you haven't finished it yet. So it'd be interesting when you have. Some people say, was he encouraging her? Other people say,
I think he didn't know how to deal with her.
Well, I think he had his own issues.
He had his own issues, and he because it's a true story, he's been quite open about his own issues. But I think when I watched it, the main thing I took from it was the impact it had on me straight away. It really upset me. It really disturbed me. Even seeing the trailer now, it's all a little bit too close for comfort. And you're absolutely on edge watching it. It's no surprise to me that it has been such a huge success. Because people, it's messy television reflecting the real lives that people live, which are not that neat and tidy. You are in relationships with people that you should get rid of, but you don't know how to. You do feel sorry for people, but you kind of end up in this embarrassing situation where you don't want anyone else to know about it. And so I completely understood what his problem was, but I also understood that he just didn't know what to do about it.
Well, you say that, you know, it's reflecting so many people's lives. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men will experience stalking in their lifetime. And there's a documentary actually tonight on ITV called Stalking: A State of Fear. And this includes, they talked to the family of 23-year-old Gracie Spinks. And Gracie was murdered in 2021. This is after she reported a stalker to Derbyshire Police. We've just got a clip for you.
Stalking has destroyed the life that I used to have. I'm no longer the person that I used to be. I feel frightened that I'm going to be killed or my family are going to be attacked. It never stops.
It never stops.
So
never stops
scary.
for some people. And they're saying some people don't even report it because the actual convictions, only 5% of stalking cases reported lead to an actual conviction.
I think the problem is, as well, is because even in, going back to Baby Reindeer and also probably that lady there, I'll watch that tonight, but is when you do go to the police, their main thing is, yeah, but have they actually done anything? And it's like, I'm living in fear. That should be enough. They're following me. They're sitting outside my house. They're waiting in cars. You shouldn't have to wait till somebody physically attacks you or do anything. It should be a law. You're just not allowed to do that. It's not a normal situation.
Sorry, Coleen, to interrupt you, but I think the other thing is there's this feeling that the police don't take it very seriously, even though the law has been put in place, as you say, very few convictions. And I know 2 men who have been plagued for years by women just standing outside their houses, sending them emails, following them, and, you know, nothing has ever been done.
You can actually apply for something called a stalking protection order. Those were introduced in 2020, and that means that the police can then impose conditions on these people and to not approach you, you know, so that you can have a restriction, they can't come with their however many feet.
But a lot of these
They
are
do
repeat
have-
offenders.
But they
who
do
come
have
back over and over
specialist
again.
areas now within the police force that mainly deal with stalking, because I was... actually, I wasn't. They were worried that I was going to be. So they found out someone who was about to be released who was obsessed, and 6 months before, they came to me and said, look, we think this is going to happen. And they brought this amazing, this stalker side of things, who gave me loads of what I should do. And it was really, really, really scary, actually. And you do have that instant... You're constantly looking over your shoulder, and it's the scariest thing. And it happened, obviously, you know, a few times within my career. You know, me and my sisters one time had a really scary guy that was stalking us, and, you know, thinking that we were all... he had this thing that we were all married to him, you know, psychologically, and he'd kick off when he found out we had boyfriends, and then he threatened to put a bomb in one of the theatres that we were in, and all the bomb squad came in and actually caught him. They caught him, yeah. And, you know, then there's another part of me, because then he gets taken away and he has to... And there's severe mental health issues, and then you kind of go... There's an element with me where I go, I kind of feel sorry for them because they don't mean to do it.
You still have to protect yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I'm sure, you know, maybe a lot of stalkers possibly do have mental health issues, but you still got to...
No, absolutely,
protect yourself, haven't you?
Well, when you say about protecting, I think one of the biggest forms of stalking, I think, is the online stalking, which has just really got out of control now. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't actually realise that they're being stalked online when they're just having what they see as an innocent conversation that's back, and then it just progresses into something worse.
Well, I think it's when it's unwanted, and we were looking up, you know, signs of stalking. People get fixated, obsessive, if it's repeated behaviour. But when you say about online, it can be unwanted letters and cards. It can be as simple as that. It doesn't actually always have to be a person standing outside your house or calling you. Somebody just sending you a card warranted.
Oh, well, I've had plenty of that. I've had people... plenty of strange things where I've had letters where people have written to me and said, I must be... I know Coleen will find this hard to believe. I have had letters from people telling me that I am their ideal woman and I must come to their house immediately.
Again.
You know, and it's the fact they
Need
got
help.
right to your house and they knew where you lived, and even though they shouldn't do, and all sorts of things like that. But I think for women who feel they can't go to work or walk down the street without looking over their shoulder, like the woman in the film, it's just absolutely shocking.
Yeah, and, you know, the advice would be always go to the police. I mean, if you are concerned, if you recognise any of that and you think somebody is stalking you, please, please do report it, because we said there are these stalking protection orders which can be put in place. Just remind you of that documentary again tonight. It's called Stalking, A State of Fear. That's 9 p.m. tonight on ITV1 and ITVX. OK, we'll take a break now. After that, from replacing your bus pass to renewing your driving licence, Janet wants to know why everything is so hard to do in the modern world. And after a man got away with paying just £22 for designer earrings worth $11,000, this is after a glitch on a website. We're asking, would you be able to live with the guilt? Coleen and Brenda, head-to-head on that. Our designer dilemma up next. Hello, welcome back to Loose Women. Now, still to come, he was dedicated to his four-legged friends on ITV's For the Love of Dogs. But who was the love of his life when the cameras stopped rolling? An exclusive interview with the late Paul O'Grady's husband, Andre, at 1 o'clock. First, time for this week's competition. Now, how would you like a brand new camper van and £30,000? Like the sound of that? Very good. They've been practicing that all morning. Lisa Snowden is hitting the road to tell you more.
Officially here, and summer is just around the corner. And what better way to hit the open road than with your very own camper van? That's right, one of you lucky lot is gonna win one.
I'm hitting the road this week in our competition prize. One lucky person is guaranteed to win. It's a T32 Highline VW camper van in Fontana Red. It sleeps 4 and comes with a hob, sink and even a fridge. And it's worth over £87,000. That's not all. We're also including
£30,000 so you can hit the road in style.
Just imagine all the things you could treat your friends and family to this year with all that money in your bank account. This prize is worth over £115,000. It's one of our most popular competitions, so don't hang around and get entering today. Good luck! For another chance, text prize to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 781119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY15, PO Box 7558, Derby, DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 3rd of May at 3 p.m. Good luck!
Yes, good luck. Thank you very much, Lisa. Now, it's only Tuesday, and Janet's had a bit of a week already, haven't you?
I've had a nightmare. Nightmare. On Sunday night, I got off a British Airways flight at Heathrow. The lawyers didn't want me to say it, but I've identified the airline. And the minute I got in my taxi, I realised that I'd left my little wallet with both debit cards, my driving licence and my Freedom Pass on the plane. Was there a website? Was there a phone number I could call British Airways? No. But there's a website that's not run by British Airways, that's run by Heathrow, that you kind of log on to and you search. It doesn't take your details, you just keep searching. So every hour of every day I've logged on and there's all other people's stuff has come and gone. And I keep putting in credit cards. They haven't appeared. So then, easy to stop the debit and the credit cards, it's pretty easy. Driving licence. Don't get me started. I know my driver number, I know my address, I know my national insurance number. I filled in the whole form online, and then when I pressed submit, it said, we see you're over 70. You'll have to reapply. Well, what I want to know is, you knew that from day one, because at the top of the form, it says, how old are you? And it's obvious, I'm 70, what's it, 7? So I filled in a complaint, and then it said, dear Miss Street Porter, I appreciate you contacting DVLA to seek clarification. Because I said, what for? They've told me I've got to reapply for a new licence. Having checked your record, I can see that we have Janet Street Porter, but you provided your name as Janet Street Porter.
Actually
The
says that.
correct spelling is Janet Street Porter. You will need to apply by post with a covering letter explaining the error in the name on your driving licence. Janet Street Porter. You couldn't make it up. That, in a nutshell, is why.
And the thing
I've
is,
gone
we're all
nuts.
laughing, but I'm sure we've all had... Yes, everyone's nodding.
And please, if anybody finds any of her stuff, give it back, because I can't live with this. She's very upset.
But it is with that whole kind of life admin. You know, when you have to do something, like apply for a new passport,
Yeah.
which is the thing. Oh, I've lost a credit card. You can't speak to anybody.
I
and
spent
everything's
4 hours
online.
yesterday. I got so upset. The only thing I managed to renew was my freedom pass by ringing the helpline. And the minute they went coming out, I went, Janet Street Porter here! And then because I managed...
What's a freedom pass? A bus? Is that a bus?
Yeah, the over 60s freedom pass for London, Transport for London. And then I was so excited that I managed to renew it by paying £14 using a credit card I'd luckily hadn't lost. But I was so relieved I bought a big manure for the garden, bag of manure for the garden online.
And did that cheer you up?
It cheered me up tremendously.
But they say we should all schedule a day a month to get on top of our life admin.
Why don't you just do it when it comes in?
All right, Missy.
Well, because otherwise I spend the whole month stressing about it, and then you've got a lot to do.
Do you do it as soon as it comes in?
Yeah, because I get stressed out if I don't. I go to bed thinking, oh, I've got to fill that in, or I've got to send that off.
I bet you're organised.
So I just...
Yeah, I like lever arch files. I lever arch file everything and put it in order. Because you're supposed to keep things for 6 years as well.
I've got that.
we do all that.
But
But
the
anything that needs
dining
filling
table...
in, do you do it straight away, or do you just put it in a...
Do it and then file it. Yeah.
No, I've got the
Physically.
dining table office.
You're like that.
I eat my muesli and move it sideways. That's my office.
OK, now, listen, I want to ask you what you think of this. OK, so we do like a dilemma on Loose Women. So this has divided people around the world. So a Mexican man, he's won a claim against Cartier, the jewellers, because he managed to buy 2 pairs of earrings from their website for just £22. Because they'd accidentally listed them on the website at the wrong price, and they should have actually been £11,000.
That's a pair times 2.
Yes, pair times 2. So Cartier declined to recognise the purchase, so his purchase had gone through, offered him a full refund, but then the man refused, and then he got the backing of Mexico's Consumer Protection Agency, and he won the case. So he was eventually allowed, they were told they had to give him the earrings, and he is now calling it the deal of the century, of course. But we did talking about that then, saying, would you have given them back? Would you have realised, Brendo, they can't be 20... Well, this is in whatever it is in Mexico. You know, but say it's here, 22 quid. You go, that's not right. Or would you have bought them at £22 and gone, sorry, your mistake?
Yes.
You would have done that.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, if it's sold as seen, or you've got your for me, you apply the same rules for something that's non-perishable as perishable. If that was edible and he'd eaten it, they wouldn't have been able to get their £20,000 back. Do you know what I mean? So in my mind, it's not dishonest. I paid for it as I saw the price that was there, and so it's mine. And you can't go back on that once you've paid for it. That's a totally no.
So you would have bought the earrings.
Yep.
And kept the earrings.
Yeah, but that's not dishonest. It's not like I'm stealing it. It's not like I took it for free, so I don't see it as dishonest.
Well, you kind of are. Cartier earrings.
No, I would have thought Cartier are being nice to you for once. They're being really lovely, and instead of charging you on just the name of it, you're actually, getting what the value of the weight was.
What, you think the weight of a Cartier was £22? No, I would have gone, I think you've made a mistake there. Because if you go on their website, you know that nothing... Not that I've ever been on their website, I can't even spell it. But you'd know that nothing on there was going to be £22. So I would instantly think, oh, that's got to be a mistake. Because I couldn't sleep at night. Yeah. I couldn't. I'd be like, oh, someone's going to have to pay for that mistake.
You could think, once in a lifetime, a raffle you've entered, and I won! Yeah.
But he hadn't entered a raffle, he'd bought something.
He bought it, and it was sold for £11.
But actually, I thought, Janet, I've always thought that if you were in a shop and you pick something, say, I like this dress, and it says £6, if I go to the till and they go, oh, sorry, no, that should be £66.
No, they have to sell it if it's on the label.
No. They don't legally have to. They can honour that price. If you take something to the till and it's got the wrong price, you don't have the right to buy it at that lower price. You can suggest to them that, out of gesture of goodwill, you say, look, well, I was only prepared to pay £6, and that's all I've got. If they have a gesture of goodwill, they could sell it to you for that, but they're not obliged to sell it to you for that. They can say no.
But I can tell you, when you go to these well-known food establishments and the picture looks like that and they give you something different, you do have the right to take it back and say, I want mine to look like the picture, and get the picture. I don't want a squash burger.
Right, listen, we're going to take another break. And after that, from Margot Robbie to Sharon Osbourne, we are taking on the day's big showbiz debates. And coming up next, we'll be talking life, love and Lily Savage with Paul O'Grady's widower in an exclusive first interview with his husband, Andre, telling us about the day he lost his beloved Paul. See you after this. Thursday, Esther Jai, mother of murdered teenager Brianna, joins Loose Women. After recently sitting down with the mother of her daughter's killer, Esther will be talking about restorative justice, creating a lasting legacy for her daughter Brianna, and looking to the future. Esther Jai, Thursday, 12:30 on Loose Women. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Loose Women Live. And the loosest lasses this lunchtime on Tuesday are Coleen Nolan, Janet Street Porter, Brenda Edwards and me, Ruth Langsford. So still to come this afternoon, Sharon Osbourne says that she has shrunk in height over the past few months. She won't want to miss our tips for keeping your height then, will she, later in the show, if you're watching, Sharon? Also, as Margot Robbie makes headlines at her friend's wedding, how can you avoid stealing the spotlight at your friend's big day? Yes, a good one, that, isn't it? First to our guest today, and it's been just over a year since the lights of the showbiz sky became that little bit darker when national treasure Paul O'Grady passed away. Now, in a moment, Paul's husband, Andre Portasio, will be sharing his memories in his first TV interview. First, though, a few of our memories of the icon, Mr. Paul O'Grady.
Have you come down from Leeds, Liz, today?
No, Manchester.
Oh, Manchester? I thought you were from Leeds.
I'd come anywhere to see you.
Oh, isn't she fit? All that flannel. Just because she's full of cheap supermarket booze upstairs. Robbie Williams here in the front. Got your edible, Robbie. Edible. Isn't that fabulous? Look at that. Weddings, funerals. How's that? I mean, say I showed you now on here Dumbo's mother with the baby Dumbo in her trunk singing "Baby Mine." Would you cry?
No. And this is a French beer.
It's disgusting. What is it? It tastes like that stuff you put in cat litter tray to get rid of the smell. Loving this. Go on, then, get it in your bowl.
There'll be laughs.
Mostly at my expense.
I've been with him on an island. Where's that island you took me to?
The Isle of Man.
Andre, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're all smiling and laughing through that because we all just adore him. How difficult is it for you to watch that just a year on from Paul's passing?
I love watching him, and to me, it feels... Now I'm sort of accepting that he's gone. It took me quite a long time to kind of get to this position, I think. To begin with was really a shock.
You didn't go out, did you, Andre?
No, I stayed in the house. To begin with, you know, I was getting the letters and the flowers, and it was just too overwhelming to begin with. In hindsight now, I see how much it has really helped me, the support, and I should thank everyone that really wrote to me, and, you know, it was just the kindness of everybody, really, it will stay with me forever.
And then there was a wonderful memorial evening that was quite unlike any I've ever been to for anyone I've ever known who's passed on. It was absolutely bonkers.
Yes, it felt it needed to be a celebration, you know. Paul was such a character, you know, and I didn't realize until I think he passed away how popular he was. You know, just by being on TV, I suppose I'm always backstage, and I never really had. I never realised how loved he was.
But you know, I don't know if Paul realised that.
No, I don't think he did.
Because he was so loved, and I think the reason being, as far as I'm concerned, you know, knowing him years and years and years, he never, no matter how famous he got or how far up the ladder he got, he was always Paul. He never, ever changed.
Yeah, the boy from Birkenhead.
Yeah.
And that's how he, I think, saw himself. He never saw himself as, you know, a celebrity or a star.
He could be quite embarrassing when you went out with him. You go to really posh places. I remember going out for a drink with him one night. I mean, I'll have a glass of champagne. He went, oh, can I have a cider?
Yes.
Yeah. You were talking about letters and things that you've received of condolences. One of the letters that you received was from the Queen Consort, Camilla.
Yes, I was shocked to receive a letter from her. And I must confess, it took me so long to reply. It's not every day that you receive a letter from the Queen. So I would, you know, wake up and think, I must reply to her letter. And I would sit down and I would be like, Dear Camilla. No. Dear Queen Camilla. Oh, no. And it took me so long. In the end, I was like, you're not writing a book. You're writing a thank letter, and you just have to go with what is in your heart. So I finally wrote to her.
Oh, good for you. One thing I have to ask you about is, obviously, we all know what an massive animal lover Paul was.
Yeah.
Which obviously you had to be, because no one could be with Paul that didn't love animals. And 5 dogs you have.
Yeah.
And one thing I read which really touched my heart was when he passed away, it was recommended to you that you took the dogs to his casket to see him so that they could see that...
I received so many letters, and it was funny because, you know, a lot of people didn't know the address. So you would receive the letter and it would be like, Paul O'Grady, home, Kent. And I opened this letter and it was this old lady, and I think she was 85. And she was very worried that about the dogs, and the dogs had to say goodbye. And that it stayed at the back of my mind, and I thought, you know, I must attend to what she's asking me to do. So just before he was buried, I took the dogs to say goodbye. And it was really interesting to see that some of them engaged with Paul, but others, they just swept out as if he wasn't there anymore.
And how are they all doing now?
They're doing fabulous. And they were a great source of...
And you're carrying on, aren't you, trying to carry on his charity work for...
Yes, I feel very responsible to what he started. You know, he was so many facets. He was a great radio DJ, a broadcaster, performer, and everything else. But aside from that, I think he was also very charitable. And something I think no one really realized is that most of the charity work that he's done was very private. So I feel I needed to take the legacy forward and continue helping the organizations that he helped, but also taking it further that it can outlive me in that sense.
But also in your local community, you said that Paul had bought some fruit trees which he hadn't planted.
Yes.
And that you took them to the local school.
Well, just before he passed away, he said to me, let's walk the dogs, I have something to show you. And the surprise was the fruit trees, because we had recently built a guest cottage in the grounds, and he was looking to, you know, do the garden around it. So he bought those fruit trees, and when he passed away, I felt I cannot enjoy them alone. It needs to be somewhere that other people can enjoy. And he done a lot of work with the primary school in our village. So I phoned them up. I'm good friends with the head teacher. And I was like, would you mind having the trees? And he was like, of course. So we had a little ceremony with all the kids. And they helped me plant the trees. And just before when I got there, obviously I had to introduce the idea to the children. And I said to them, do you know who Polo Grade was? And bear in mind, all these children are 7, 8 years old. And then the first answer was like, he was a drag queen. But which shows that, for a child of 7 to know who Lily Savage was, it really highlights his impact.
But you celebrated, if that's the right word, commemorated a year after his passing by going on holiday, didn't you?
Yes, I didn't want to be in the house remembering the shock that I had gone through. And it was really, really, really hard. I don't wish to my worst enemy to find the person that you love unconscious on the floor. I didn't want to remember him in that way. I wanted to celebrate his life, the time that we had together. I was very fortunate to spend 18 years with him. When we got married, for me, it was forever. And only I didn't realize that it was short-lived. We were together for 18 years and we were married for 6. So, and Paul, we traveled all over the world, but we'd never been to New Zealand. So for me, it was going to a place where I could celebrate him, without the problems. When someone dies, no one tells you how hard it is with the admin of it and the decisions you have to make and all that cloudy that has nothing to do with how I felt about him. I took his passport with me. I took his pajamas with me. And you know that I also took one of his friends, which is it's an imaginary friend called Kerry. And Paul, Kerry would appear in the most bizarre moments. Often when he wants to deflect the conversation. So if I said to Paul, Paul, let's go for a little walk. And he would say, like, Kerry, what is he mumbling on about? And then I would be like, Kerry, tell him that it's just a 5-minute walk. So going to New Zealand, I had Kerry and Paul with me. I would be like, Kerry, how come is he not complaining of walking?
Well, listen, it's so lovely to hear your stories because we obviously knew him. I mean, I know Janet was friends, but we knew him from the television, from our world. But, he was your love and your husband, and it must have left a huge void in your life, but it's so wonderful that you're trying to carry on his legacy with all his charity work. And we wish you well. Thank you for sharing all that with us.
Thank you.
OK, we'll take a break now. After that, honey, I've shrunk the panel following Sharon Osbourne's latest revelation. Is it possible to avoid shrinking with age? We're taking a height test live. Don't miss it after this. Even had a drink. They haven't even had a drink yet. Thank you. You're very kind. What a great audience today. And now still to come this afternoon, all the gossip from Margot Robbie's big day, or was it? Find out why I'm asking that in just a few minutes. Time first to go back to Lisa for this week's competition.
Are you dreaming of more adventures this year? Well, I might just be able to help you out because we are celebrating the start of spring with an amazing competition, starting with this VW camper van.
Imagine the holidays you could have with this. It's a T32 Highline VW camper van in Fontana Red. It sleeps 4 and comes with a hob, sink and even a fridge. So you can drive, eat and sleep around the UK and abroad this year and beyond.
But we never do things by halves here at ITV. Oh, no, because there's lots of cash, £30,000 to be precise.
That's right, as if the camper van isn't enough, we're also putting all that money in your bank account.
This is one of the most popular prizes of the year, so if you want to get that entry in early, here's all the details you need to be in with a chance of winning this amazing prize. Good luck.
For another chance, text prize to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 781119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY15, PO Box 7558, Derby, DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 3rd of May at 3 p.m. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Yes, good luck. Now, actress Margot Robbie was back home in Queensland, Australia on Friday, heading up the bridal party for her childhood best friend. So there they are, when they were little girls. Yes, and then she was her bridesmaid at the wedding. There, look. Imagine having Margot Robbie as your bridesmaid. They all look gorgeous, I have to say.
Lovely.
But there are people, Brenda, going like, oh, you know, I don't know if I'd want Margot Robbie because she'd upstage me.
She'd upstage me at my wedding, that's for sure.
If she's her best friend, you know, you're not going to not invite your best friend just because she's Margot Robbie.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, if it was my wedding, I mean, I didn't have any bridesmaids or anything like that because I didn't want anybody to upstage me. I just had my daughter, she was a flower girl, and she still managed to upstage me because everybody was, you know, she drew attention to herself when she was crying and stuff. But that's fine. But
you're over it.
Yeah, I'm over it. Can you tell?
My sister didn't ask me to be her bridesmaid, and I got the hump big time, so I wore a dress that in the wedding lineup I stand out.
Did you?
My mother didn't talk to me afterwards.
What did you wear?
I wore a floor-length Sandra Rhodes printed coat with kind of a chiffon blouse and trousers, and my sister just wore a white dress, and she, quite honestly, looked dreary next to me.
I think it's nice, though, that Margot went back to her roots and, you know,
absolutely.
she honoured her best friend's wish. And if they've grown up together, then she wasn't the celebrity that she is now when they were originally friends. It's quite nice. It's nice for her to do that.
But there were people saying, like, oh, no, she shouldn't have invited her. You know.
I think that's
And I was
ridiculous.
like, of course she would.
Because to her friend who's getting married, she's just Margot.
Yeah.
She's known her since that first picture when they're at ballet class together.
Yeah.
You know, and also, I don't care what anyone says, I don't care what you wear at a wedding, nobody upstages the bride.
Because everyone's looking at the bride.
Or I don't care how you turn up, everyone's there for that moment with the bride and the groom, and the bride always looks, you know,
Also, if someone
amazing.
said to me, you know, oh, don't come to this because you'd upstaged us, I'd say, well, A, I don't behave like that, and if you know me well, if you're my best friend, you know I wouldn't do that to you. And if somebody that didn't have any class came up and went like, oh, can I have a picture? I would go, not now, because I think you find it's her day. So you wouldn't intentionally upstage anyone anyway, even if you were somebody really famous,
briefly return to
hopefully.
my sister's wedding?
Well done,
Actually, the person who upstaged my sister was my granny, who had a coughing fit through the entire ceremony, and an ambulance had to be called. So we're talking upstaging. The whole thing was like
So
carry on.
your outfit was forgotten by then.
absolutely.
She totally
Can
trumped
somebody
you.
please make a life story of your like a film? It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a lot of disasters.
OK, now, you might have seen Sharon Osbourne has been talking about her height. Do you feel maybe you've shrunk with age? Because Sharon says she does. She's lost a couple of inches of her height, she says, in just the last few years. And she is probably right, because women apparently can lose 5 to 8 centimetres. I have no idea what that is in inches. What is that? 5 to 8 centimetres, is it? By the time they reach 80. Anyone know what that is in inches?
It's probably about...
We only work in inches.
We're all of that age.
It's
We're like,
probably about
no, we only do inches.
Yeah.
But anyway, they... So what we thought we'd do is measure the panel.
Oh?
Yes. So what height do you see? I'm convinced I'm 5'7". I've been 5'7" my whole adult life. So if someone, you know, am I filling anything in? I'll just say height 5'7".
Well, I was 5'6", but I know I've gone down to 5'4.5".
Oh, you know you have.
Yeah,
Janet,
I don't believe them.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I've always said I'm 6 foot because that was the height I reached at 14 or 15, and I think I'm just kind of stuck there.
OK.
Although when I did a day in the life of loose women the other day and I looked at it back, I was shuffling a bit. I had started doing this.
I sent you the yoga block, didn't I?
Yes, I've got to stand up
because I do that, a hunch. I sit here like this.
Yeah, but I can't not hunch. Because if I don't hunch, I'm like...
OK, so, Cole, we're going to get you to measure Janet and vice versa. Okay,
Oh,
so if you'd like to go over there. Have we
Bit
got a
scary.
stool? I think we've got a stool somewhere, haven't we?
Yes,
there.
you
Is
have.
it there? I can't see from here. Oh, yes, it is.
Where are you standing for this? I'll never reach you with this. Go on.
Just get up the steps.
Frankie's going to
careful,
kick the
Colleen.
stool from under me.
Take your shoes off.
Yes, Mother.
Right, I'm going to stand up completely straight.
How tall do you think you
put
are?
the one end on the ground, darling.
You think you're 6
I know
foot?
how to do it. Right, stand up straight, chest out, get off.
Yeah, I'm standing up straight, looking ahead.
How old do you think... How old? How tall do you think you are?
6 foot.
You're bending it.
You're not.
What?
You're 5'7".
Yeah.
No.
5'7".
So you've lost 5 inches.
No! You've measured me wrong! Brenda, come and measure me! Brenda! Right, Brenda, I trust you.
I don't want to get... Yeah, about 5'7".
No! Damn it. 5 inches. You've shrunk 5 inches.
Oh, God.
Janet, just live with it, babe.
That is not 5'7". That's 71 inches, you evil. 5'11".
5... Oh,
Babe.
for you.
Go on, then.
Do it again.
There you go, Janet.
Come on.
There you go.
Right, Coleen.
Oh.
Right, can I... Right.
Oh, you don't need a stool? Rude.
5 foot... 5.5 inches.
5 foot. Oh. You've grown a bit.
Grown an inch.
You've grown a bit.
And we all know an inch is important.
This is a scientific survey.
Brenda, they did ours, and you haven't shrunk. No, you've shrunk an inch, and I've shrunk an inch.
Oh,
as well.
OK. I was
We've got to
5'8"
shrink
to begin
this
with.
show now because it's time to say goodbye, I'm afraid. Yes, I know. Tomorrow.